Hello fellow travelers, my name's SG and welcome to the channel. Today, since the movie The Exorcist Believers came out last week, I thought it'd be interesting to look back and review the original Exorcist, the movie that started this whole franchise back in 1973. I enjoy it, it's a cult classic, not even a cult classic, it is just a plain classic. People everywhere have at least heard of The Exorcist at least once, and there are so many references out there, it is in itself a genre-defying movie. Alright, let's get started, shall we? Now, since I'm pretty sure all of us have known the story of The Exorcist at least at one point, whether from the actual movie or maybe from a parody, or even made just in reference through various different documentaries, other movies, stuff like that. But for now, we will talk about the storyline to The Exorcist. The storyline starts off with Regan McNeil, played by Linda Blair, who is having several issues with her mental state. Her physical health has declined. She is speaking in different languages that don't make sense to her parents. And it's gotten to the point where her mother, Chris McNeil, has decided to contact the local priest because medical science is not helping her at this point. When the priest does go and see what's happening with her daughter, he comes to the conclusion that she is under the possession of something demonic, maybe even the devil itself. And through that, he contacts the Vatican, which brings in an older exorcist and helps them figure out how to be rid of this ailment. Now, that's all I'm going to say for now because this is a movie that needs to be experienced. I could go on and explain the entire thing because it's an old movie, I'm sure a lot of us have seen it. But I do believe that this is something that needs to be watched and experienced rather than being told about. Plus, I don't want to spoil the ending for anybody who hasn't seen it and is just going off my word. So, I will say, just go see it. It is worth the watch. One thing that cannot be understated is that this movie did create the genre of possession movies. It was one of the first and one of the ones that did it best, honestly, because there was nothing like this at the time. There was ghost movies, but they were always done kind of cheesily and so on and so forth. But there were monster movies. There was Frankenstein and Dracula. Look at my Abbott and Costello one going a little further back. But this was the first one that they actually took it seriously. They actually did pull out all the stops for it. And it really terrified people. It really brought the idea that there's something beyond our understanding waiting to attack us. This terrified people of its time, and it still now, if you're not ready for it, it can still give you a bit of a shock. I know that it keeps the suspense going. It does keep the story moving. It's a very good movie and it is interesting, and like I said, you should see it. It is an experience that you need to have. Now, Linda Blair as Regan really did fit this role to a T. She performed it as best as she could and it shows. It is uncomfortable. It is creepy. It is something that you don't want to take your eyes off of, but at the same time you don't want to look directly at. It is amazing what she was able to handle in this movie. It is iconic. It has inspired many others like her in the future, and really made it, having a child actor be creepy in the movie, common. It really did fit the role, and it really did make something new and different for its time. Chris McNeil, who is played by Ellen Burstyn, really did well in this movie too as a caring mother who's worried about her daughter. I am noting her because she is in the next movie, I believe. So she did well. I buy her character. I buy several of the scenes she's in. And even though there are I can't say there are not a lot of scenes. Although she's not the most memorable character in the movie, you can feel for her struggle. You can understand what she's going through. She's adjusting to a part of her life that she never thought she'd experience. But then again, who would expect something like this. Jason Miller and Max von Sydow as the priest of this movie really fit, especially Max von Sydow. He really fit the role that he was tasked with, and that made it interesting because, well, when we think of an exorcist, we think of a grizzled old veteran priest, and he fit that to a T. In fact, it might be him the reason we think of it like that, you know? Because every modern day movie or adaptation of an exorcist we get, we often relate back to The Exorcist. So the fact that even to this day we can think of his version of it really says a lot about how he acted in this role. Even on the movie cover and several posters, it's his image that's usually outside the house, willing to help. All in all the actors I pointed out, along with several others that I didn't have time, they really did act to the best of their abilities, and they made this situation believable for all of the viewers, along with a lot of the people who went into this movie not sure what to expect. So I would say that there aren't a lot of effects in this movie, but the ones that are there are a lot of their time. They did have to get creative with it a little bit. The makeup done for Regan in this film really showed like how she was either transforming into this demon or how she was kind of decaying. You got this green tint with her that kind of showed that she wasn't really transforming, much more she was decaying. The eyes they gave her really did show a difference in how she usually is, which made the transformation even more shocking when you see her. The voice work and everything with that was really well done. You could tell that a lot of effort was done in the special effects area in this movie. For Regan's room, there was a lot done for the bed because that's mainly where they focused with her on that one. There were several dream sequences that were mainly used as camera tricks to show the demon affecting the minds of the priest, along with several other characters. And it works out. It makes it surreal enough to where it's buyable, but not fake enough to where it's cheesy. And it is very well done. The special effects probably will take you out if you expect something of today's modern standing. But if you go in this with the expectation that this is from the 1970s, you will get more than what you plan for, because this was the time that they were really pressing what could be done in a movie. This is one of those things that, like, these are one of those movies that would never have been allowed before that. So, I would have to say the effects are very effective. They are very well done, and they do leave you kind of like, man, that was cool. I wonder how they did that. Now, I know what you're thinking. Usually at this point I put in the references, but because this is from 1975 and it's one of the originals, it really doesn't have any references. It is a reference. It is what a lot of horror movies, cartoons, TV shows, and various other sources like to reference when they think of a possession movie or a possession story. Like, I'm sure there are a bunch of other, like, material I could use, like Dr. Evil or even The Simpsons using a Treehouse Horror once. There are plenty, but I want to keep in the theme of this one, so I'm not going to point out too many. And I just want to say that, sorry, I don't have any references for this, but let's move on to the final thoughts, shall we? Alright, let's get started. Overall, this is a classic. This is a true horror movie icon of a movie. You can't go anywhere without someone at least knowing of The Exorcist. It's been referenced throughout many different types of media, TV shows, video games, also other movies. There are several like other sources like this, but not quite this. This is different. This stands out amongst a lot of the others that have tried to copy. The Exorcist will always be the quintessential version of a exorcism movie. From Reagan herself to the priest himself. You can't think of these movies without those two characters. And it's definitely worth a watch. I definitely recommend watching it for Halloween if you are by yourself or if you're with a group of people. It really broke the mold of what a horror movie could be at the time, whether it was just for shock value or it was more for story. This was a mix of everything. It was shocking, it was horrifying, it was interesting, it was weird, and it was fun, but it was, overall, it was good. And that's what I think a lot of people took away from it. And that's what I'm going to walk away with it. That it is a great movie, and I do recommend it 100%. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. I hope you enjoyed this review of The Exorcist. Thanks again for my last Dante's Inferno chapter. I know Canto 2 didn't do so well, but I am very pleasantly surprised with Canto 3. And I would like to thank the new subscribers that have joined since my last video. I am hoping to make it to 50 subscribers by Halloween, but I would like to say thank you, and I appreciate all the support and all the views and all the likes that you guys have given. Alright, see you guys next time, and yeah, have a great day. See you later.